Men's and women's basketball hosted Westminster this past Saturday. We have highlights from Bronson Arena.
Plus, spring sports season is underway. We recap softball and the battle in Bronson.
All of that and much more coming up on Maverick Postgame. Well, it's another beautiful week for any of you that aren't Falcons fans, of course. Welcome to Maverick Postgame. Joe Azar alongside me is the Matt Ryan to my Tom Brady, Bryce Reedy, and we have an action-packed show for you today.
We do indeed, and we'll get things started over in Bronson Arena with the men's basketball team who is looking to keep their playoff hopes alive against Westminster on Saturday night after completing a comeback victory against Western State earlier in the week. Like that game, Saturday night's matchup would be close as well. So let's take you over to Bronson Arena for the highlights from the game between the Mavericks and the Griffins as both teams get things underway, shaking hands, getting things ready for tip-off. And the Mavericks started off a little quick. Here's swinging the ball around. C.J. Davis with the three. Sadly, that'd be one of his only threes of the night. He was held to 5 points in the contest, but the Mavericks, they're down now. Kabir West with a nice pump fake up and under move to tie things up at 10 apiece. But then Westminster went on a bit of a run here, but some good defense by the Mavs trying to claw back from 16 down as Kabir West is going to take it coast to coast to cut into that 16-point lead. Makes it 32-18 at that point. And now here's Brandon Hoffer. He's going to drive baseline. Nope, he's going to find Nate Hawley for three, and it's going to roll home after the toilet bowl spiral. The Mavericks are clawing their way back. Now they're within one as Brandon Hoffer does an up and under move, and all of a sudden CMU goes from down 16 to up one in a matter of minutes. Now here in the second half, Hoffer swings it around, finds Davis. Back to Hoffer. Wide open three. That one is good. Mavericks still within two. But Westminster now starting to break away with Armor Lopez on the layup, and that would give the Mavericks a 6-point deficit, but it was not going to be enough as Westminster takes it 89-82 when all was said and done. Now, the Mavs fall to the Griffins 89-82, and what was a valiant comeback effort for CMU. James Sylvester led the team with 23 points on the night. The team also had a collective 26 points in the paint despite the loss. Now, if the Mavs want to make it to the RMAC playoffs, they'll have their work cut out for them as they take on Adams State Friday before a huge matchup against Fort Lewis on Saturday.
Well, switching over now to the ladies, and after a frustrating loss in South Dakota last Friday, the Mavs rebounded nicely with a big win against Western State on Tuesday. Against the Griffins, CMU wanted to continue their winning ways. Can you take a guess what's coming next? Of course, it's more highlights. Back to Bronson Arena we go for another matchup. This was the early matchup of Saturday night. It is the Mavericks versus the Griffins. The Mavericks, again, still one of the top 3 teams in the conference, but any win is crucial when it comes to the standing, especially with a big game against CSU Pueblo coming up in a couple weeks, who remain undefeated. But in this game, here we get things started off 5 minutes into the first quarter, trying to find someone who's Richley, finds Duran. That's cash money. That's 8-0 lead. There, 5:50 to go. Another play. Here comes Sydney Small. Watch Archambault escape your screen. It's left wide open, and of course she's going to make the easy jumper there. That's sloppy defense by the Griffins. Here comes an easy pass. Holly Brooks, wide open three, and the backups can do it just as good as the starters. Here comes another play. Inside Archambault to Mata and Panisa, and that's an easy bucket inside the paint. Now this is a quick three here by Richley. Cash, and take that to the bank. And here we go now, second half underway. Why do you leave Holly Brooks open? She made 2 of the 2 3-pointers that she had wide open. Here comes another play. Westminster Griffin falls. Brianna Adams says, I'll capitalize off of that wide open 3 there. And that is enough. 68-56. CMU continues its winning ways despite only shooting 22% from beyond the arc. The leading scorer of the night, Mata Epinesa, who's becoming more and more of a big-time performer as the season goes on. Epinesa had 14 points with Aaron Richley behind with 13. Same schedule for the women as the men as they travel to face Adams State and Fort Lewis this weekend.
Now, just like the Super Bowl regulation wasn't enough, the battle in Bronson was a winner took overtime as well. In overtime, it was up to true freshman Clayton Voitila to deliver the victory for CMU Wrestling. With everything on the line for the newcomer, got the lone takedown of the match as fans rushed to the center mat to celebrate the 3-1 victory over Western State. That's not all the big news from wrestling, though, as both Daniel Salazar and Peyton Taywater claim RMAC titles over the weekend. The team will return to the mats this Friday at 6 p.m. to take on New Mexico Highlands.
Well, last season, CMU softball and head coach Ben Garcia took the nation by storm, winning the RMAC regular season title and being 1 out away from taking down the #1 team in the nation in last year's NCAA tournament. The team was picked as the favorites to repeat as conference champion, and last weekend they sure showed why. The team traveled to Denver for the MSU Classic against Nebraska Kearney and Metro State, and oh my lord, there was a murder in the first game. Against Kearney, the Mavs put up 22, yes, that's not a typo, 22 runs against the Lopers in the 22-4 win. Then the team went on to exact some revenge on the RMAC playoff team that knocked them out of the playoffs in a 10-1 win over Metro. The next day, CMU remained unbeaten by taking down both teams again, winning 8-0 and 9-4 respectively. The team will now travel to Utah to take part of the Dixie State Tournament this weekend.
Now it's time for our Maverick of the Week, and thanks to his clutch performance in the Battle of Bronson, we're giving it to Clayton Voitila. As mentioned before, Voitila got the lone pin in the overtime contest to ensure victory for CMU in the battle in Bronson. The true freshman delivered big on a massive stage, and that is why he is our Maverick of the Week.
Well, that'll do it for this week. Check back with us the same time next week on Channel 3 for all the latest news and scores in Maverick sports. With Bryce Reedy, I'm Joe Azar. Have another fantastic week, CMU.